Call this one the City Mystic. So let's talk about the city. The city is spelled Siddhi, and it means somebody that has perfected something or has power. It's essentially having power and energy. And so that's a Tamil word, Tamil, most people would say, or Sanskrit. And it's made its way into the language of the angels, English, the angles of our lungs, our lung gauge of angles. And so our word is city, C-I-T-Y. And the word C-I-T-Y is obviously a vortex and a portal and a place of energy and power. That city, that when you say city, and there's a couple other meanings and ways of spelling it and saying it, but it essentially has to do with energy and power and mysticism. But then we bring it into the two-dimensional Tron world, a step down into flatland, as people would like to call it, or what would be called a circuit board. You can see which one of those two pictures there is a circuit board, the orange one or the blue one. It's because a city is made in the same way a circuit board is. And you can look at the city, what is running through it, wires and lines, and it's running the same exact thing that a circuit board is. And in fact, I think you'd probably find computers these days that have water cooling systems. Now it's starting to mimic one another as we have water running through our cities. But now these circuit boards actually have water running through it to cool it down, computers that are cooled by water. Now, when we think about a city, we often come up with the term gritty. Like, that's really gritty. That's a gritty city. If you go somewhere like Philadelphia, Baltimore, New York, parts of Chicago, you'd call it a gritty city, G-R-T-T-Y. But is that what's being said? Or are they saying gritty, G-R-I-D? It's the same word, a T and a D. When you break it down into the secret code is based on 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9, and it has to do with the sounds. And a T and a D are the same thing. I've explained this in other videos about DNTLS, dentals, and the way that certain sounds are made. And T and D are the same letter. So a T and a D, ta-da. So the gritty city is, well, it is dirty, it certainly is. It's so closely related. Like everything chemical, we say, oh, chemicals are clean. Oh no, it's all very clean and sterile, like a hospital or a factory where they make computer parts. Yet we know it to be very gritty, made of grids, and we know gritty is very like rough and dirty, like the grit on a sandpaper. So we know that chemicals are actually dirty. The actual dirt is not dirty because that's where life grows in the three-dimensional organic world. Life grows, but in a gritty space, in a sterile environment, they call it sterile. Well, what do you do to a man that doesn't want to give birth? Plant its seed. You sterilize. So why would you want a sterile environment? Nothing grows there. So even the term circuit board, and this is another small lesson into, because a lot of people want to know, like, how do you decode language? Where did you start? How do you do this? I've done it for so long, and there's so many ways of doing this, between things that sound alike, between knowing what the letters are, by knowing the shape of the letter, that they're all hieroglyphs basically, and then having a little bit of understanding of having read books and knowing other languages and the source of what the shape of where the letters shapes come from, whether they're watery or fire languages. I mean, there's a lot that goes into it, so it's a really hard thing to explain to people, and people want me to do a lot of one-on-ones, and I'll try to make it as simple as possible. And I on my blog, zenalchemist.wordpress, There's a lot of stuff there that I'd written years ago that tried to explain this on paper for people so that you could look at it and you could see the letters that I'm talking about and how they exist and how my mind functioned to get to the point of seeing letters. So the word circuit, as I was saying, the word city and circuit, what do you notice there? It's C-I-T-Y, and in circuit you have a C-I-R-C-U-I-T, circuitry. So you have a C and a T. It's a circuit. A circuit contains a city. What you've added there is an R. You've added an R. So look at the letters and vowels. Here's a little lesson. Vowels don't count. Vowels were vowed to you. They were vowed from L. The angles or the angels vowed something to you. They're called vowels. L is the angle. L is the angel. L is you, but it's also a fraction. Your tongue takes something and makes an angle out of it. You take a sound, which is O, and then you stick your tongue in the way and you shape the sound. You cut it up with your sword. Words are swords. Swords are words, and you're using your tongue to split the sound of an O. An O is everything. And you cut that up, and that becomes the L. And the L, which is your tongue, which is also if you put your hands out and you put your thumb next to your first finger, you'll see an L there. I'm not going to go that far, but this is how the language is constructed. So if you take your standard 26 letters in the English alphabet, alpha beta, and you get rid of the vowels, you have less letters to work with, because those vowels, no matter what you do, they're vowed to you. You can just go, you have to do nothing. There's nothing you have to do with your tongue to cut up the spirit, because the breath is the spirit. You don't have to cut up and anglicize or angel-size or angel-size to turn it to the size of angels. You don't have to anglicize anything. It's just there. It just comes right out. So now you're left with the sounds that get shaped. And the farthest way we can go with this is there's 9. There's 9 sounds, 9 very strong, powerful, direct sounds that have to do with each one of your fingers. Now, if we look at our hands, I'm going to just go a little farther. If you look at your hands and you look at your knuckles, you have 3 phalanges on each one of your fingers, and then your thumb you have. So there's 3, 6, 9, and 12. That would be your first finger, your second finger, your third, and your pointer. That'd be 12 plus your thumb. That's 13. And then you have 2 hands. There's 26. There's your 26 letters. 12 fingers around the one thumb. There's 13. That's the whole thing. That's the monad. Each hand is a monad. Each hand is a sun symbol. And that's 26 letters. But what we can do is we can put our hands out and see that, oh, look at this. We have 10 of these things. And those are our 10 numbers. And those 10 numbers are now connected to those 26 letters. We can get even farther than that and deeper than that, and this is why we get into the binary systems, because we can go, oh, we have one hand here and one hand here. So now we have a binary system. So we can see the binary system on our hand. We can see the 10 digits on our hand. And we can see the 26 letters on our hands. Boom, it's all right in the palm of your hands. The world is in the palm of your hands. The words are in the palm of your hands. And if you take words and put an L in there, which is your hand, which is your first finger and your thumb, you put an L in there, you get worlds. Words create worlds because the worlds are in your hands. So back to this word circuit. Get rid of all the vowels, and now you have these certain sounds that are explaining and framing and suggesting things to people about the form and reality of things. And so in a circuit board, what you have is a city. You have a CT. We could get into what a CT scan is or a CAT scan. And we get into X-rays and how those letters actually represent what the thing is doing. And we can do that numerically as well. I'm not even saying using gematria. I mean, gematria can show you a lot, but this goes even deeper than gematria. This is like an ancient Isisian code, and this even goes into other ancient secret codes. But let me not go too deep with this. I wanted to do kind of a quick Zen gem lesson here, and I think I'll probably still label it as such. But so inside circuitry, the only letter that you have in addition is R. C-I-T-Y, and C-I-R, and then you have another C, C-I-R-C, circuit, tree. So you have all vowels, and then C, T, and an R. And so what does an R do? Okay, a C and a T is a crossing. A T is it's like really the symbol. When you think of a T, you think of Jesus. You think of a man on a cross. And it means your skin suit. It means physicality. That's what a cross means. It means physicality. You're crossing air and spirit. You're crossing air, fire, earth, and water. You're crossing north, east, south, and west. And if you look at the word north, east, west, south, you get news. The news is right there. So this crossing is the body and the spirit. So this is why a T stands for, you put it right there as a cross on someone's grave. That's where they're buried. They've crossed over. They've crossed into a different form. They've crossed into the spirit realm. Okay, so the C and a T. And a C has to do with a chalice or a cup. You can even see it in the letter C. And even the word C represents the S-E-A, the C. But we're not going to go that far. The C is a cup or a chalice. And it's also facing the moon. How do we know it's facing the moon? If you look at a sentence and you write a sentence from left to right, because that's how we do it in English. There's languages that go up, there's languages that go down, there's languages that go right to left and left to right. And this has to do with looking at the sun or the moon. But we look at the moon, and how do we know that? Because there's a period at the end of the sentence. What does a woman have? A period. And what's it connected to? The moon. So the period is the moon. We write to the moon. Okay? So the C is opened to the moon. Because the letter C is not written with the opening to the left or the beginning of the sentence. It's written towards the end of the sentence. So it collects the energy from the moon, just as the C collects energy from the moon. Or there's something going on there. I won't go that far into it. But so that C is that. It's a chalice or a cup, or it's a containment vessel for energy. And a T is a crossing. So a city is exactly that. It's exactly that. It told you right there. Just in those two letters, a C and a T. It contained a vessel of information, of collecting energy, of a crossing of spirit into physicality. And the spirit is the people playing on the keyboard, putting something into a physical realm, and the chalice, that's what a city is. That's what a city when you walk out here. And that's also what a circuit board is. But what does a circuit board have that a city doesn't have? It has an R. An R, the letter R is for running. You say something is R, it's running. Why? You can look at it. What is the letter B? The letter B is it was originally the first letter, but now it's the second letter. And that has to do with the triangle, the A, and the triangulation of things. And we're not going to get into that here, but the B is a birthing mother. It's a bosom. It's a breast. It's small on the top and big on the bottom, like a woman giving birth. So that birthing process is supposed to be the first thing. But again, just look at the letter. The back is up straight. It's looking at the moon. The breasts are smaller. The belly is bigger. Belly, there's all the B's. And it's protruding forth towards the moon. So that's what a B is. Now, how do you make an R? You get rid of the bottom part of the B. So a woman gives birth, and we're not going to go through the whole birthing thing and how we can decode that. But the baby comes out, and it stands up on 2 feet at some point, right? So that is the B, and the birth, breaching the birth canal into the real world, and the water gets broken, and now all of a sudden the baby is there. There's the B, the baby, and then it starts running at some point, and that's what the 2 legs are on the bottom. So an R looks like something walking. You can see that. You can see there's a head on the top and 2 things walking. There's 2 legs. It makes it's movement. It's rain. Rain is movement. Running is movement. So when we add an R to the word city, we get circuitry. It's movement. It's energy. And what do you see running through circuits? Energy, electricity. It's running through there. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this one. I think I covered everything I wanted to here about circuits, cities. And this is what a she-man is. A shaman is a she-man. or a She-Ra or a He-Man. We can play those ones another time. But a shaman is a mystical being connecting realms. Now, some of these realms are, as mystics or shamans or cities do, they're connecting things. They're bridges between things, between dimensions. And it could be as simple as someone that's on a boat that takes someone from land across water to land, because those are two different densities, or something that takes you into the air. You could call a pilot a shaman to a degree. Absolutely, you're taking someone through the air to somewhere, from the ground to the air. That's two different densities. And there's people that walk the city and they do it mentally. So there's all sorts of ways that a shamanic being works, because what they've done is they've bound two energies together, which would be the magnetic and the electrical forces, the male and the female forces, to be able to see two balance points on either side, like wings of an airplane, and then understand three densities. I mean, you don't have to understand all three. It's very, very helpful to know the densest of realm, the water realm, and then the air realm. And that's where you get the word mystic, is from the water and the air, which is mist. And then the other realm is where most people kind of stay, in the dense realm, in the earth realm. They don't know much about water because they don't even consume it. And they definitely don't know much about air because they don't breathe it. So, yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed this one. I think this one was a lot of fun. I woke up with this on my mind, and we'll talk soon. Hope you enjoyed. From Zen, the City Mystic. Stay awesome. Do cool things. Inspire the world, and if not, can't do that right yet, just get some water in your system, clean yourself out, and bind some circuits together in your brain.